Yeah, welcome track hearing is Andy James, Angel of Darkness. I've heard the song before, but I never really clicked how good it was. It's actually really insane how good it is. Because as a sort of, I don't know, I think I was like intermediate guitarist when I first heard this. I can't remember how long ago I heard it. It was way before I sort of started making covers, I think. Somehow I missed it. But this track is just so good. It's a great sort of prog metal track, I guess you could call it that. Sort of, it's also metalcore. It's got quite a few different elements going on. Yeah, it's just so unique because the intro starts with some pretty basic rhythms, but obviously bass and drums. But the lead is where it's so fucking good, and also the composition entirely as well. I have to mention that. It starts with like sweeping and stuff, and then it goes into this key change, which is like really interesting. I think it's a key change anyway. And then it resolves it and goes back, but into a different position, which is just wow. Never heard anything like it. It just resolves again and again until obviously the bridge. This bridge has some sort of like dark tones to it, sort of dissonant vibe to it, I think. After that, I think it goes into like another bridge, and then eventually it goes into the chorus. The chorus is obviously really fun. It's got a great lead melody with plenty of harmonies and stuff. I forgot about that in the pre-chorus bit. Actually, there's like a insane tapping bit and stuff, like insane scales. It's just nuts. Well, I haven't actually seen the full tab for this because it's kind of hard to find one that's actually like displayed. I might as well search for it again just to look. But it always impressed me how difficult this track sounds, and it probably is really difficult, knowing how many covers there are of this online and just how much movement there is. I've seen the videos and stuff, and it is definitely a track. It is really something. Not sure if it's going to be harder than like Through the Fire and Flames, but I don't think that's really a good point of comparison. They're not worth comparing because it's a niche thing. Where's my tabs folder? There it is. Everything I still have all my music stuff here, the tabs folder and whatever. I don't open it in folder. To open it as GP5. It's done. Yeah, there's like so many different things going on in this, and then it goes back into sort of bridge / verse. I don't know what you call each section actually. This tab only has the guitar, which is interesting. Yeah, it's dissonant. Just rechecking this. It's kind of impressive. Is this a MIDI pool though? Because I looked before and there's like a MIDI pool, and it was on Rocksmith actually. No, this isn't a MIDI pool, I don't think. It's actually the real thing, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, it does look kind of difficult, even though you're kind of just moving up and down scales and stuff. I'm not really familiar with music theory and stuff. It's kind of a difficult point for me. Yeah, that chorus is so good. It's sort of like a bridge part after that, leading into the same thing, the same bridge as before. And dissonant again. More tapping, which is even faster. This tapping is different, I think. It's even like triplets and sextuplets, I forgot what you call them, sextuplets. Giggity. Chorus again. And then there's like a really impressive solo as well after this next bridge. It was so impressive. Also key change at this bit too, which is insane. Was it key switch? Key change like I thought about that before. So they're really good. and back into the chorus, and there's I think another solo towards the end, and then the outro again. The outro is basically the intro. Yeah, fucking love this track. I'm definitely gonna listen to pretty much all of Andy James stuff now, to see what else there is, because also this can't be the only good track. I struggle to believe that, how well it's composed and stuff, and it's also just very basic metal, in all honesty. Yeah, the rhythms are quite simple. Even then, the leads technically are kind of simple, it's just learning like tapping and stuff, and also scales. I don't know, it's hard to say. But yeah, that's the track. Let's move on to the first topic. So, one of the bigger disappointments with everything going on in the world right now is to do with rock companies just letting scalpers get away with it. It fucking sucks. I absolutely detest this. It sucks for so many different reasons. But I think it's obviously worse for people who don't intend on scalping. So, like, there's apparently been another trend with something else that's being scalped now. Apparently it's Nemours? I can't remember what the fuck they're called now. But yeah, it's all similar to the Boobers, I guess, but completely different thing now, and it's apparently like a stress toy. Oh my god, like, what is going on? Why this shit? Sorry, I keep sneezing, so my voice is changing over time. Fucking, this is annoying. Feels like an allergy, which is rare. If they ever have these, it's not even properly summer yet. Like 16 degrees today, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm quite annoyed by this situation, and it gets me thinking about Pokemon trading cards and stuff, and what are you doing? Why are we still selling these, exactly? Why are we still distributing them, manufacturing them? Because from what I'm aware of, all these problems just stem from the fact that people are trying to flip a profit from these things. Which is already quite a divisive thing, I guess, especially in this day and age. Because everyone's trying to get their money, and honestly, I think scalping is like one of the scummiest things you could do, next up there with like stealing. It depends on what you're stealing though, that's the thing, and where, however. I think it's more important where you steal from, but either way, I don't drop a tier for like a corporation, but I do drop tiers for shed tiers rather for local companies, local shops and stuff. But having said that, it's very weird that, again, the scalping thing is still going. It's been around for years and it's still going. Admittedly, the trading card game stuff might be relatively new, but at the same time, it's like, why are you still allowing this? And I keep seeing these notifications from both Pokemon and One Piece, because I'm subscribed to both channels, or their official channels rather. And they keep posting about these fucking card games. Like, I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? You're complicit in this scalping thing, you fucking morons. It's like they're as corrupt as the people scalping, because they're complicit in this. If I were in their situation, I'd cancel not only the manufacturing, but I'd also basically stop all these fucking competitive games so that nobody can get a hold of them, and then suddenly there's going to be a spike in the card prices that'll be so fucking rare that nobody will want to buy them. And then you can bring it back. You can start bringing back the cards that are now rarer, but even like start selling them so that they're not as... Come on, but that's the thing with the card games. The fact that these cards are like rare is the problem to begin with. So if I was manufacturing these, I'd actually stop producing them. I'll stop distributing them, or at least make them common so that people don't have to fucking fight for them. So literally have an entire card pack or something for that. Just for all these rare cards, even like the older ones. So this shit can just stop. And I'm here just looking out for people, not the corporate interest. But that's also where this just feels sickening, even with something like One Piece, which apparently It has a Scalping Crisis too, for the One Piece card game. The fucking One Piece card game. Just to repeat that. Like, what? It's not even the most popular thing out there, and yet it's being scalped. Imagine Magic the Gathering probably has the same problem, maybe even Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh! Is even still going, actually. But again, this is the problem. Again, if I was the manufacturer or the company behind this, who's involved in this scalping crisis, I'd literally just start doing things that fuck over the scalpers. So now card packs no longer have a strict value. Everything's the same. Everything's rare. So it's like, oh, well now we can't profit because there's nothing in these now. And even if they buy them all up, it's still not going to work because companies should also be limiting their sales. So one of the other things I do, which is really important, is to tell every single distributor, so every shop that these card packs go to basically limit them per person. It's problem solved. That's all that needs to happen these days. But for some reason they don't do that. It's as far as I know. And this even goes for like smaller shops, which are just as obviously involved in this. Which is unfortunate, because I imagine they don't want to, but I think putting these limits is important. You know, like 1 or 2 card packs per customer per day, I think is generally a way to go. I could be wrong, but maybe like calculate it. You know, look at how many customers come in purchasing these things, and then obviously, you know, divide it so there's enough left over. And so when there's actually like genuine people, like children, actually coming in to buy these, you can actually give them more. It's like, oh, we have this policy where you give them more to children because they're the ones who are essentially the target audience for these cards. So yeah, it makes the most sense. Sometimes you could get children who scalp, which is a problem, but it's still better than what we currently have, where it's like grown fucking adults. It shouldn't even be up to us to solve that problem to begin with. Why is it adults doing this shit? Like controlling what other adults do? Makes no fucking sense. So yeah, I don't know what to add, but yeah, that's kind of it in terms of this topic, and also just my possible solutions to these things, these problems. And as I've said before, it's like, I think if people are so desperate for the cards, I think we need to just find a way to make our own. Like, this is the other thing with this, because I think the problem with trading card games I have is I'm not interested in the trading part. I just want card games. You know, I have a fucking solitaire. I don't know what it's actually called, actually. You know, I have this deck of cards behind me with like the what's it called? Fuck. Like all the like spades. I forgot what they're fucking called. It's just a deck of cards. It's got everything in it, including some jokers, and that's it. That's a card game, not a trading card game. A playing card game, which is what I think all these other things should be. It shouldn't be trading card games because that's causing too many problems. So yeah, what do I even add? Can't really think of anything else to say here, but yeah, I think that's mainly the gist of it. It's still really a big shame that this has gone so out of hand. It's so strange it's even become an issue, because it's like, how? Are people really so desperate to get their hands on fucking cards, which by the way you can print out yourself, even though it's like crappy bit of A4 paper, still having a bit of artwork, someone scanned it in supposedly on the internet, and you have a bit of artwork to show for it. Like, yeah, that's probably the main appeal for trading cards anyway. Yeah, whenever I see posts on like subreddit, for example, for Pokemon, it's always someone making a full image out of it or framing it, or so like they're doing something to the card or with it that makes it different. So that's what makes it special. They even get duplicates. They even creatively make the duplicates into a 3D sort of version, which I also really like. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this really. I don't really have anything else to say. Let's move on. Well, this is sort of happening again, but shopping frustrations. So yeah, I tried to submit something today for trying to get a thing that I just desperately need now, which is just better, health and conscious-wise decisions in my life, lifestyle for that matter. Also, as I said, I was getting a chair. Well, I went through a few different avenues about this because I figured it's about time I get one. I'm nearly in my 30s, so having this would be good. But, I'm just kind of like, what the fuck do I do? Exactly, because the issue is, my posture isn't really a problem. This chair actually does a good job. My back is like firmly against it and sort of curved forward. And even when I sit back, it's pretty comfortable. It's surprising, given how cheap this chair is. Also, I need to take off that cushion thing that I have behind it. I've had it on there since like last year. I actually managed to like fit it on there, like break it open and put it on. But yeah, it's interesting because I don't really struggle with posture. It's just I don't really like just the various elements in terms of getting a chair and stuff. And I've had problems with chairs before, but I couldn't necessarily find any that were good enough. So they always turned out sort of problematic in a way. And, it's a thing. It's something, I guess. And so I ended up with a Herman Miller, it seems. And, I'm hoping this ain't going to be regretful. Give my thoughts on it when I get it. But here's the problem. Shopping for one of these is fucking torture because you obviously want to find the cheapest option. And what I ended up getting was basically the option that I need in the end. And I've had to pay full price for it essentially because there's no such thing as a discount on these, which is also really annoying. So that really, really sucks. So there's essentially no way out of that, which really frustrates me because it feels like it should have been some alternative or something. Yeah, like I was searching for it and I ended up finding just the official site in the end. I tried somewhere else which did a finance option because this thing, they're so stupidly expensive that to not offer a finance option is a bit stupid. It's almost suicide. Because I think finance can be good when it's done well. And actually, weird story. I do have a bad credit score, but that's because of an issue with PayPal or all things. They fucking charged me for something that I didn't even do. And then they put that on my credit score for whatever fucking reason. Never been able to appeal it for some reason, I don't know why. It's never been removed. It's actually impacted my credit score quite negatively. I've never been able to apply for finance. So yeah, because it essentially put my bank account in debt, which I'd never been in before, and technically it wasn't possible, I was essentially being punished for nothing. So that's weird. And I paid like every single thing I've made on it, every like paying free, for example, whatever it is. I've never essentially lied on these things, and yet it's still giving me a fucking negative credit score. But then you have to look at the other finance options out there, which is like, well, actually there aren't really any companies, sometimes it's just the retailer themselves, but I tried to do one for the Miller chair, and it's asking all these fucking questions which I have no clue about. I've been so, I don't know, just pampered in a way. I just don't really know what these things mean. Like, what the fuck is a furnished and unfurnished tenant? Like, what the hell even is that? And why is it even relevant? That's the thing. So it just doesn't make sense. But it's even like crazier things, like it's asking you where you used to live, it's asking you other questions like, are you single or are you married? And it's just like, why? You know, if someone's got the money, then why does it fucking matter? You absolute fucking idiots, you lot. It's so bad. It doesn't even give you a picture of the financial situation. It's like, yes, I'm on benefits. Yes, I can't afford a lot of things. But that's why I'm here. To begin with. So, eliminating me from finance is just fucking stupid because you're actually losing money. There are many people on benefits who have to pay this way. Obviously, for the same reasons I have to. Things are too expensive, I don't get enough from the benefits, and it's better to pay over time, and even then, I like a solution like I had with my Ormsby guitar, for example, where they did a sort of pseudo-finance, something I haven't really talked about. I call it a pseudo-finance because it's not real finance. They don't offer it, actually. But I managed to talk to them about it and managed to arrange, like, okay, I could do this, so I paid over time and they kept the guitar, which was good, and then they sent it on the last payment, and I got it. So, why don't places do this? Like, it doesn't make sense, and I would have happily done that for the Herman Miller chair, I wouldn't lie. If I can do that in an instant, I'll do that for anything. And, you know, if that's the problem here, why not do that? Like, you fucking stupid. You know, if they don't pay after, like, 4 months, I guess, or however long it is they plan to pay over and wait, then again, what's the problem? You do, like, your own finance thing, so it just doesn't make any fucking sense. I just get fed up with this. This is why I just don't like shopping. But what happened in the end is, I basically managed to make my account go to, like, nothing to get this Herman Miller chair, and it's fine now for the most part. I'm just gonna have to hope there's no bills. The problem is I have to get so many essentials and pay rent, and that just also adds up the amount I spend in a month. The fact I've gone from something to nothing is kind of worrying. It's also proof that the cost of living crisis is really causing issues. You know, I'm even planning on getting a new door at some point, and even a bidet and possibly a washroom. Assuming that it's not provided by the places that are supposed to provide them. But currently they're not, they're refusing. But, you know, it seems impossible. And it's hard to live in this current state, this current economics. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, I'm obviously struggling as a fucking result of this crap. You know, I have to pay the consequence, that's the other thing. It's not like, oh, you can wait a bit more. But I am literally paying the consequence because I'm suffering. I'm paying more myself because I can't afford to fucking live in this current condition. The reason I'm getting a Herman Miller Aeron, of all things, is so I can get more comfortable, have less heat being trapped, so I can sit comfortably, have a better posture, and this is going to last me. It should last me for years. So, yeah, I don't get where this fucking comes from with shit about, oh, you need to save up and stuff, but I can't. There's no such thing as saving up when you're on benefits. You spend it all because you have to spend it. It sucks. And, you know, this is with subscriptions and even trying to support smaller things, like in general, like trying to support content creators, for example. Like I have a Your Scholars membership. I also contribute to charities, I contribute to organisations and stuff. But I do all this now because it's more important than ever. These things, well, bar a few, are things that are close to my heart and will address the problems I'm having, including this. So, obviously, I've got a good reason for all this shit to do. Yeah, as usual, I just hate online shopping. It's just fucking bad. Makes 0 sense ever. So it's really hard to justify. So yeah, was it even to that? Like, do I have any stories from this? Some sites are just inaccessible in terms of like how it's designed. I guess sometimes there are like issues with payment processing, but as I said, that thing with not being able to fill out a finance form because it's so badly designed. But that's the other thing, I guess. I'm kind of satisfied with the idea of paying interest, and the reason is, even though I'm paying more, I just don't mind it. You know, it's not a big issue. If it's like 10%, 15%, it's not too bad of a problem, and especially over the course of months. And yeah, they make their money by being the fucking middleman. Admittedly, I prefer like 0%. I think everyone would, but I can't because of the credit score issue that for some reason fucking happened. Yeah, I'm not even trying to get rid of it. That's the thing, if you're permanently in that, then it kind of means like you're fucked in general. It's going to lead to more issues and then more spending. So it's really dangerous as well to have credit score issues, especially on someone with, like me, with benefits and disabilities. It's a bit stupid, although like finance stuff, it's always a bit bullshit. Yeah, what do I even add? Yeah, everything that costs money, that's the thing. I don't know why governments and benefits keep forgetting to mention this, but everyone, you know, they need to spend money to fucking live. Like, newsflash, that's what it takes. So, yeah, a lot of this shit is just really annoying. And then they stopped doing this thing in the UK where they pay for your heating bills and stuff, or at least part of it. So they're paying like £300 or something every like 3 months, I think it was. And they stopped doing that for some reason, even though we still need it. But they haven't done it in the last year or so. So I'm also struggling as a result of that. Great. So I have to still spend more on my heating bill. It's just so fucking stupid. It's very weird. So yeah, guess I'll move on from this. I've got stuff to do, some behind on things. So yeah, let's move on. Continuing my thing with streaming services, basically subscriptions not being great anymore is the sort of thing I just realised. Because at the moment I'm watching Only Fools and Horses and it's good, but I don't think it's worth a subscription cost, in all honesty. You know, it feels kind of pointless, and this also brings up the issue again that you're not getting good value for your money depending on the streaming service you're with, and it just kind of makes it feel like shit. Like, I guess with Netflix, I think you have like a gaming thing on the side, if I'm not mistaken, which at least adds value, but even then, I don't know. But this is the other thing, this is a problem they've created. Rather than create a storefront for obviously having these things there, where you can buy the CDs or USBs, whatever it is, they instead have a subscription thing, so, and then no physical copy to have with it, which could certainly increase the value if you you know, if you put some care into it. If you actually made a good physical copy of something, having like the box thing, the box set, the case, whatever. But yeah, I suppose the other thing is that streaming services just incentivize us to be more greedy, which isn't a good thing necessarily. And whilst I see the benefits of streaming services, I do not see the benefit in having the systems the way they are, where it's like, oh, we expect it to offer us everything. But, you know, if I can't go, say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another subscription service, streaming service, maybe like something like a ITV X Plus, which I just discovered. But maybe going with something like that. But I can't watch Invincible on it, for example. And I also can't watch like other shows. I can't watch like what we're looking at watching later. 40 Towers, I guess, might not be on there. And it's kind of weird. Also, you're not guaranteed to even get to stream them anyway, because for some reason they just block content from you for no reason. They block it for regional purposes or something stupid, and it's just so unnecessary. I just don't get the idea behind it. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, like, it's so fucking annoying. There are better ways to do these things, but this ain't it. Like, obviously, just isn't it. So it just makes no sense. As usual, it just makes me scratch my head and not really find any resolution in that. So yeah, what do I even say? I haven't really got much else to add here. Yeah, I need to restart my PC, I think. Having weird fucking lag problems. So the edge is running, so where is that? I don't know what the fuck is going on with my PC either. It's like memory's been all eaten up. Somehow Vivaldi's using everything, even though it's using nothing. And there's some RAM stickers died or something, which I found hard to believe it has. Memory 32 gigabytes, so it seems normal. But somehow 20 gigabytes being used, which it doesn't seem right because there's barely anything using it. So that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's just led on to a technical issue. Like even the highest things, the second highest things, are not even using it that badly. That could go, technically speaking, and those can. It's really hard to pinpoint it unless I do a full reset of the computer or even just the browser. It's so fucking annoying. And this is the thing, I could do that. I made a bind for I was putting the tabs to sleep on Vivaldi, and I keep forgetting to use it. Control Q, and that puts it all to sleep, and how low is the memory now? Half. Nice. Can't really complain about that. Not sure if it'll solve the issue though, to be fair. You know, given that I don't use all these, it makes sense to have this as a button anyway. So yeah, very weird. Don't think it's stopped it entirely, but we'll see. Gonna go into a bit of content again. Yeah, strange mix of topics again. So yeah, let's move on. Just been reminded of something kind of interesting, because it's sort of something I played recently in Rocksmith. It's about a crappy channel, and I'll explain what I mean. I played a song recently called I Made and Judas My Guide. It's a really interesting track, I fucking love it. It's quite interestingly composed track. It's got the usual sort of galloping stuff, but it also has some interesting chords, you know, sort of like the almost hair metal chords, but not quite. It's just a Iron Maiden twist. But on top of that, amazing solos and melodies, and also the lyrics are pretty good too. And yeah, I wouldn't have found that song if it weren't for Watch Mojo. Yes, that channel. That garbage ass channel. So if I was wondering what the fuck am I talking about with this, well, Watch Mojo, if anyone unaware, is a channel that lists the top of things, so like trending things, I guess, trending results. But it's not actually trending usually. It depends. But they make some shit tier lists, and it's really proven with the likes of movies and shows and just anything art. They just cannot get it right. And it shows that they just follow the trend rather than looking at things that are actually, you know, like for example the Iron Maiden thing. I'll explain why I found that. I believe it was the top 10 most underrated like metal tracks or something like that. It's like crazy around that sort of thing. And that's how I discovered the Iron Maiden track. Well, it could have been a Loudwire thing actually. I used to watch Loudwire before sort of anti-woke people took it over, I think. When it was the audience that took it over. I found it through one of these anyway. And it just reminded me that Watch Mojo is still around and it's still crap. It's actually kind of crazy to think about, but I don't think they can get it right still, from what I'm aware of. Because with a top list, it often has to be either completely accurate to what it's saying or just outright from like a, personal perspective. Because one of the things that really pushed it home when I realised that they were spreading a lot of misinformation was the hardest guitar tracks. And obviously myself learning through Rocksmith, it definitely excels my learning in these things. And so when I saw that they did a thing about the hardest things to play on guitar, I was kind of interested. And I watched it and I thought, you people are fucking jokers. These are not hard guitar tracks. Like, it is crazy. Some were hard, like Through the Fire and Flames, still kind of hard, but Eruption kind of hard too, but other things like Master of Puppets not hard. And even like Stairway to Heaven, I think was listed there, and it's like, this is not a difficult to play list, it's just the most popular guitar tracks, and yeah, like it's just terrible. And when you think hard guitar tracks to play, you think what's actually impossible versus what's actually possible, because even then every single track though is possible. I'm kind of proud of myself. It's either 89 or 91% mastery in Through the Fire and Flames lead in Rocksmith. But you can't achieve that without the guitar knowledge and know-how. It's not really possible, and even then those who play guitar are most likely looking for challenging arrangements like this, especially if they're more used to it. So it's kind of crappy when they make a list like this, and it's so divisive and shit. You could have said hardest songs for, I don't know, certain skill sets maybe, but it doesn't make sense either. Because any beginner is going to fail at these songs they listed. And even then the advanced guitar players will know to find something difficult with them, or whatever. Because everyone has a different skill set, and even the hardest things to play can be certain techniques. I'll definitely have that myself. Yeah, it's just so dumb. I really don't understand why they still exist and why people even give into it. What are we doing here? It just doesn't make sense. Because when people give into this shit, I just think, why? What's the point? Yeah, you might be looking for like something popular, but it's not going to mean it's good. And that's my problem with obviously numbers and rating system, and even this, for example. Check it, it's like, not really a tier list, but it's just listing things from best to worst, or worst to best, kind of. But yeah, I just never liked the channel anyway. It sort of reminds me of another channel that I just started to dislike, but I've disliked for a few years. It's something that sort of me and my friends used to watch actually, but it's called Cinema Sins. And to be honest, it's just a very cheap way of basically doing a Beavis and Butthead. That's what I've realised, especially basically a social commentary on things. Well, not really with the social commentary, but it's just pointing out every little thing. It's like, it's so fucking unnecessary. And then I saw a video on someone talking about this channel saying that they're not actually sure what it's supposed to be, and it also just seems very suspicious as well. I think there was something about potentially being in ties with like Hollywood potentially, hence how they got the movies and stuff on there without copyright. But it's also basically watching an entire movie without basically seeing it, which is also kind of weird when I look back on it. Because now I watch movies in their entirety, other than through clips or whatever, or shorts that people now use. But it's so weird. I just never liked Cinema Sins either. And they just do the most random things as well. It's like every time there was like a quote unquote sin committed, and it'd be like I don't know, a story point where the girl was about to be killed, or something. It's like, oh, girl is about to be killed. Ding. Like, what the fuck? It's just so much nonsense. And if it is for fun, then it needs to be explicitly stating that. Maybe this was back in like 2020 or so, maybe even before that. I was playing Overwatch back then, so maybe a bit after. But yeah, as the channel pointed out, it just doesn't seem to have a proper sort of recipe or anything for it, let alone disclaimer about what it's about. So it could also be misleading people and making them not want to watch these things. Because even then, you might say it's free advertisement, but it's also kind of not. You know, the fact they can look at the latest Fast and Furious movie, for example, and then, obviously ding the sim counter a few times, it's also nuts. But then there's also the crazier fucking aspect where they also like throw in these, at least from what I remember, the combinations and multiplications and stuff. And they take off sims as well for things that are quote unquote good, which is also subjective. You can probably see it with any movie that you've enjoyed in the last few years, even some that you really like. I guarantee you, if they made a video on it, they found some quote unquote problem with it, which isn't really a problem. It's just something they've nitpicked. It's just so fucking absurd. Yeah, I don't really remember how they've aged, so I don't know if it's like there's homophobia or ableism or anything, so I don't really know if that's aged well or not. Yeah, I don't know what it is with these channels. They just seem to be reaching very hard for a niche thing. And the thing is, like, older as well, and just become a bit more wary to the fact that sometimes the things I watch are just not worth it. But even then, I still watch tons of channels on YouTube at the moment. I'm still waiting for the alternatives, to be honest, to get off YouTube. Yeah, it's like kind of lazy stuff, and even then, kind of hard to find certain things in the space, especially related to movies as well, where I think it does become more of an issue. What do I even add? I don't know, but that's basically the point. Yeah, hopefully, obviously channel like Watch Mojo, I don't know if it should still exist, it's hard to say, because I don't watch it anymore, and I'm surprised that people do, but maybe they've changed, maybe they've not changed, but at a certain point it's kind of like there. Yeah, it's kind of a shame, really. It also had quite a bit of potential as well, but they just became just so very fucking obnoxious, I guess, and they made top 10 videos about every fucking topic you can think of. I'm pretty sure there were even people mocking them before about even crazier things like top 10 Epstein file finds, I guess would be one. That'd be more relevant. It's like, Jesus Christ. And yeah, it's just a profit driven thing as well. That's why they do it. All they have to do is grab some clips from a certain show or something and find a top tier list from someone else, after a Reddit post or whatever, and that's it. Write a script, probably ChatGPT it now, and yeah, they're done. But even back then, they probably just half-assed it and copied from an article. It's just absolute nonsense. Well enough, they even gives props to Cinema Sins of all things. Because obviously, Cinema Sins, you need creativity to make that fucking all these fake claims and stuff. Yeah, it's a bunch of weirdness, anyway, so yeah, I think I'll move on now. Got to listen to Iron Maiden. Something else I just realised that's kind of interesting is I saw a video earlier. Solar Light versus TF2 players. I'm actually not sure if they're pros or not. They seem really good though. That's the thing. But it got me thinking about how TF2 and this isn't recently, in the last few minutes, I thought about. It makes me realise that TF2 never really took off as a competitive game, at least as far as I'm aware. Compared to something like CS:GO and stuff. And I think there's a lot of good reasons why they didn't take off, and frankly didn't get that good. I literally think that it's because of TF2's casual nature. I think this is quite obvious from the outset that this was why it didn't take off. Especially compared to something like Overwatch, where it's more serious and higher stakes. Admittedly, it's kind of fun to play, but definitely wasn't a competitive game from the outset, but it became one, and yeah, eventually it did, which sucked. But then TF2 just doesn't transition well. It never transitioned into competitive, and not even influenced the balancing, from as far as I'm aware anyway. At least until like Soundman changes and stuff. I miss the old Soundman. The old Soundman was genuinely funny. But yeah, it does feel like a lot of TF2 competitive is just basically copium, trying to think that it can be a competitive game, but in reality it's not. Even with people who really try hard and try serious things, like, or for example, trying to like air shot and juggle and stuff. Like, there's so many advanced mechanics, and even like trimping is demo night technically. Yeah, this is all why it's not even a competitive game, even with those things. They're very advanced. And that's because those things are quite, well, they're not easy to master, but they can be mastered. I've done it myself. Even like pyro air blasting, which you can do with like dodgeball, which is a pretty insane game mode. I've tried it a few times, I hate it. But it's all there to be mastered, and you're just not there to do serious shit, you're there to have fun. You literally just need to be there and have fun. It's like the entire premise of TF2 is a hat simulator, and then obviously all the weapon skins, which kind of made it suck. But then you have the cooler aspect, which is the taunts. And the taunts and also the voice lines obviously play some part in this as well. They make for some very interesting interactions. The fact there's group taunts like the conga, the Katoza kick, and even anaerobics, and even singular taunts like, I don't know, like toasting, or like group ones like high five and stuff. Like, so many different ways that it becomes a casual game, and it's honestly really special for that reason. I don't really know any other game that has done what TF2 has, which is really saying something, I think, because it's quite rare to come across a game that's like this, in all honesty. I don't know how many times I've said that, actually. Literally, it is a special game. There's nothing else to say on that, because it literally is. It's a recipe for funny moments and interesting interactions, even making friends. Like, fucking hell, the amount of friends I made on TF2 alone, from childhood to when I stopped playing, which is around Overwatch. Pretty insane. And I think I was still making some even before I transitioned to Overwatch. So it just goes to show that it really doesn't matter like how competitive they make it. I think it will always be a casual game for that reason. There will always be a player base who are very adamant on being fun, being friendly, which is also one of the things I absolutely adore about TF2, even having quit it for so long now. Yeah, that's why it's in my hard drive still as a install, not as pornography. But it is still there. And that's because it's basically an all reliable. It's a fun game for the most part, and yeah, a lot of that stuff plays into it, even though it's a microtransaction hellscape and technically a gacha game. It's still okay enough that I think you can enjoy it. And yeah, what else is there to even say on that? It's just really one of a kind sort of thing. I don't think there's any game like it out there. which is a shame as well, because there should be games like this out there. But in the current climate, I don't know, like, is it really possible? Hard to say. You do wish that there was more, obviously, more games like it. But it's very hard to find a casual game for all things. Like, Deep Galactic is like the closest I've found in recent years. And if you go into Friends Swap, which I'm not really into myself, then it's going to be kind of hard to find things like it. Because I think Friends Swap is probably the closest you'll get in terms of a fresh experience and similar to that. Even then, it requires more players, and that's not always a thing that's possible. I'm pretty sure the latest Friends Swap game doesn't even have a multiplayer that's that big. So again, it's sort of meh in really many ways around it. I don't even know what else there is to add exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. TF2 is just still a great game, but again, I still think there's a lot of things to improve to make it a bit more accessible and enjoyable. And I just don't think it should be a competitive game. Like, people can fuck off with that. Yeah, everyone masters rocket jumping at some point, everyone masters air shots and stuff. Even then, there's not really much to the competitive aspect anyway. I don't really think it matters either. I don't think people really pay attention to it. And that's why you have players who still, to this day, as far as I'm aware, don't actually do anything in TF2 in terms of competitive. That's why you still have so many casual players, even YouTubers for that matter. So it does matter that it stays casual. Anyway, I think I better move on. So, here's something I'm wondering, sort of channel thoughts, I guess. Weird. So people make a fucking noise again, it's not good. I just started watching a podcast from World Politics, and it's about the UK prison crisis. I'm only about 7 minutes in. I heard about the stories I read. But they were talking about shoplifting in this, and it reminds me of when I sort of dove into this briefly. And I thought it was the reason that someone shoplifts, especially nowadays, is just so that they can provide for their family. And it's completely justifiable, in all fairness. And, you've got the problem where workers are then told to intervene, despite the fact that they're not paid enough. And then when someone does, they could get fired, which is also really fucking stupid. Like, you're not going to make any friends like this. And not the workers specifically, I mean the people in charge here. You're quite obviously absolutely fucking stupid. And they really have no clue how the world works. And I think about the Channel 4, I think it was Channel 4. They had a sort of topic on this. They did an investigation, I think, into the shoplifting crisis in the UK, and tons of the comments were just saying, like, oh, you people are all fucking sick, you shouldn't be shoplifting. Like, people even pointing out that one of the women wanted to take their children on vacation by obviously reselling the things that they stole. It's just like, what do you fucking expect? Think of like 30 or 40 odd years ago, you could go on holiday as much as you want, as long as you had the time off. But nowadays you can't, so what do you fucking expect? Again, it's a personal thing. People think that the luxuries are like holidays, but also you forget that luxuries today are different, because we have obviously technology to support us, and back then it was more to do with being out and about and exploring. If you don't want to be a bookworm, you could be a traveller, you could be a photographer, you could be different things that aren't obviously strictly tied to technology or even advanced technologies. Shut up! Fuck is doing that? It's really fucking weird. That's not sort of, what was that? someone make a fucking noise out there. I think it's on purpose. This is why I'm calling it a harassment case. They just do it on purpose. There's no fucking reason for it anyway. Yeah, so with shoplifting and stuff, like, people have to get by somehow, and it sucks because these are the sort of people who probably even still like Pokemon cards and stuff. And in some ways, like, we're supposed to hate them, but in other ways I think you can't. You can understand the reason why. I think when it makes our lives worse, it's obviously easier to hate them, and that's one of the biggest issues here. But likewise, all the comments were criticising each and every fucking shoplifter in this video. This documentary, I think it was actually. And honestly, I think it was unjustifiable in some cases, these comments. I think, based on the situations we're in and how scarce it is now, how expensive everything is, it's not surprising that people resort to shoplifting. It really isn't. And I don't really blame people. Because it's often corporations that take all the money, and billionaires, and supermarkets are pretty much owned by billionaires, I think, as far as I'm aware. If they're not, then I guess it's not as bad, but still, if they're millionaires, it's kind of like, yeah, still sort of scummy. It really depends on how far they go with their quote-unquote profit, whether they compromise employees or not. But other than that, the thing I've wondered, which ties into this, is what is the hierarchy of evidences out there? Rather, is there an infinite ladder of evidence, for lack of a correct term? This is something I was thinking about with topics like animal rights and environmentalism, where people will obviously believe one thing and oftentimes want to believe something when it's not even true. And they try to reach for the furthest fucking things to even justify that, to justify their positions and stuff. And that in itself becomes a problem because, there's essentially endless amounts of evidence and it just confuses things. So when someone says, build wind farms for the environment, and someone says, well, no, this takes up just as much emissions as the other thing, just to get it there. Obviously ignoring the fact that it will provide for years to come. And it literally makes no fucking sense, but they then also refute that by saying a counterpoint, which is like that. Then they'll have a counterpoint to that. It just goes on and on. So where does it fucking end? It's often what I'm wondering there. Because it just seems like there isn't an end, which is the problem, obviously. I think that's obviously showing a greater issue, but where I would argue, and this is absolutely irrefutable, this is how far I've thought about this over the years and how long I've debated it as well. There is a point at which there's a greater weight to the evidence, and the greatest weight wins. So, again, the wind farming thing, it's like, if you've already dismissed it because you think the emissions created by obviously making it, and maybe even drilling holes in the ocean, alright, obviously harming, unfortunately, sea life, but that's a thing we have to do, then you've already lost the argument. Because the weight of that, of the overall benefit of wind turbines and even solar farms, will just greatly outweigh everything else until you provide stronger evidence. Heavier evidence from us, so it fucking matters. So again, I don't really understand why people are so adamant on trying to disprove these things or follow a certain agenda, which isn't even necessarily true. It just never made sense to me, and all these years later, it's just like, it's the same thing. I just feel disappointed that people haven't even improved intelligently. Just sort of why I bring up the shoplifting thing, it's related, because again, people look at the evidence like, yes, we don't like shoplifting, and then people say no, but shoplifting is justified because we have no money, we have nothing else. And even then, welfare risk in prison is probably better than not going to prison in some ways. But it's fucking nuts how bad the world is. And then someone will refute that by saying, no, but you can work your way up. Like, I don't know, this is just something for someone to do, so yeah. It just goes on and on, and I say that the job won't work because this thing is something else, and it's like, it goes on forever. So it's just really annoying whenever I hear this sort of thing brought up. And there is no easy solution as far as I'm aware at this point, especially at this stage in the universe's economy. Yeah, so it's just really frustrating. There ain't really much else to add to this though, so yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I've got, so let's move on. So who could have saw that coming? The UK government wanting again more ID for some reason, as if to crack down on this quote-unquote imagined immigration problem. That's a tongue twister. Fuck me. It seems to be happening again, and people seem to think as well, or probably anyway, that this could be beneficial for cracking down on immigration. But the reality isn't that simple, because technology is a very difficult thing to tackle, and it requires precision, literally. Now, I just got finished watching this video by a channel called Fine Print. So she's exposing all the track records of the UK mishandling data, and yeah, I'm just as convinced now, and I'm probably even in one of them actually. So I think I was in like a child benefit thing from one of them anyway. Not sure if that's sensitive info, but I don't care anymore. You know, this issue is exactly why I don't really want to contribute to these things, like, at all. If you're asking me for my face or my ID, fuck off. Like, go away. You fucking jokers. There's just no point. It's too dangerous. It's stupid to even incentivize it as well. You know, just the amount of things out there, the amount of problems that can come from it. You know, identity theft, obviously being one of them. And also extortion. Like, literally, you can have that. You can find someone from a line of family or something, extort them, AI generate shit, it's evil. Sorry. And just randomly go my way. Yeah, what do I even say? It's just horrific. And, you know, at a certain point, if the data breach even includes people who are more wealthy, then I think that's even more of a wake-up call, and I honestly think people should use that info, because that's really the biggest fucking thing here. You know, the only way these idiots are gonna realise that it's not actually safe for them is by affecting them directly. You know, find out whoever it is that's doing it, because that's the only way, I think. It's just really fucking stupid. But yeah, it's really frustrating anyway, that this is a situation where this is a problem. It shouldn't be a problem anyway, especially in this day and age where we rely on technology even more. And, you know, I'm thinking, this is something that came across my mind. We're going to the doctors and stuff, and going through an electronic system, like either you sign in through their self-checkout thing, or you go to the receptionist, and the receptionist still has to use technology. Whereas before computers, you didn't do that. You just went into the doctor, said you had a problem, and that's it. Yeah, you get a doctor. But nowadays you have it all so sort of normalised and shit. It's so annoying, in a way. You know, I'd rather someone look through a page of documents or something to find your name, see if you're registered in a doctor's or not. It depends. But that'd be far better than technology, because as I keep saying now, technology is becoming less and less reliable because people don't know how to fucking use it. Still got uses, but how long of it, we don't know. There's just no telling. we literally can't know if it's actually going to be any use. The only solution, I guess, is again to turn back to older times. This is why I still have books, this is why I still have physical game copies, this is why I even write down, for example, info that I have that's like sensitive. Because that has to be put somewhere just in case. And even updated when I need to. It's just so fucking bad. I'm trying to think. How do I even say it? It's all just so fucked. It's unbelievable amounts of misuse and mistrust as well. Yeah, this thing as well, that governments seem to think they can control you, but they don't. The reality is, we're not even on a leash. We're just pretending we have one. That's, again, one of the pillars of knowledge that I have is potentially dangerous, but at the same time, now is really the time to acknowledge it. And, yeah. Yeah, if you look at the thing that happened in Nepal, you'll see firsthand that no government is invincible. No government is untouchable. They're all just as vulnerable as you. And even the police forces and governments and military, they're not invincible. They could be easily fucking overwhelmed. It's just people need to get their asses into gear and actually do something about it. And that's the frustration, I suppose. It's really that simple, and then people just don't do it. What else to say? I guess just say no to these things. Like when they ask you for an ID to access a site, say fuck off. Because it's not worth it. You know, when they try to ban VPNs, you also try to keep a VPN. Because they're going to be so fucking valuable. And even VPNs themselves are going to essentially profit off this, which is good for them, not necessarily good for us. But they're going to get so much money. Because everyone's going to realise that they don't want this ID system, so they're going to go over VPN instead. And I can see why. It's just absolute fucking absurdity. So I'm quite happy browsing without VPNs, just to say myself, honestly. It just depends on the site. Like, you know, some of them you don't want them to track your history or whatever. And then others, like, you don't really care. Like, I browse YouTube. I look at Blue Sky, even browse Reddit, I don't have anything to hide there. But then they try to think that there's a real problem with your shit, and they think you're suspicious for using a fucking VPN. Like, what? Where is this even coming from? What evidence do you even have that it's suspicious as well? It makes no sense, and then you have to look at this the other way. VPNs are legitimately used for practical reasons, not just tracking and getting away from advertisements, it's also being able to view sites, being able to view specific things. I can't remember if this was something I had to do, like when I was on Netflix, for example. Actually, they don't allow it, do they? No. Okay, maybe not. But Crunchyroll, that was actually one place. Crunchyroll, I had to, in order to watch the One Piece dub, I had to go to an American server for some fucking reason, because they don't license it in the UK for some reason. Which is just nonsense. Like, with the same fucking language, why the hell can't you just port it over? It makes zero sense, and so VPNs like this become valuable. So fucking useful. And that's why it matters so much. So yeah, what do I even say? It's just really annoying. It shouldn't be an issue anyway. Data breaches, like, come the fuck on. It's a matter of when, not if. Because data is always going to be compromisable. It just depends on how you protect it and how effective you are. You know, a simple fucking antivirus probably ain't going to do it. You probably need someone to write an entire script, an entire thing, and encrypt everything. There's so many different levels of security that you need to do this. And that's why I also just don't feel comfortable sharing my data. If someone can literally just go up to a certain IP address or website and find it. It's like, oh, great. Especially now in this day and age of AI, you need something to fucking overcome it. Yeah, it's going to take a lot more than, or it should take more than a password to crack it. That's the thing. So yeah, it's just very strange to me. Like, if I had to guess, like, one theory I'd have, like, it's just some method, at least, of like keeping data offline. So this is again my sort of idea. Feel free to take it. It's definitely help, but it should only be used by trustworthy places, not the government. Because the government can't be trusted with our data, it seems. But other places, basically, you need a relay system. You need to have a way to have an online and an offline state. So you start with one computer that's maybe gathering the data in the forms, the queries and stuff. Then obviously you convert that into whatever format, you encrypt it, maybe locally, and then you transfer it to a server, essentially. And that server is then taking that data and powers offline. Yeah, it sort of does it in batches, I suppose. Yeah, when it's at least submitted, and then that can then be transferred to one that's like online, I guess, but with more security, possibly. Does that work? Yeah, I'm starting to think there's maybe a flaw in that, but maybe like some system where it's like it doesn't rely necessarily on the relay, but things get stored offline as well. But when it's like obviously requested and stuff, it should be on a delay. I think that's mainly the important point here. So, you know, like obviously taking the data, taking it in batches, like okay, powered up about 10,000 queries in the last 30 minutes, transfer it. When the transfer is done, turn the server offline. Nobody can access it in that time. So that's fine. And also the relay could probably stop as well. So it's just like, yeah, it stop its connection to the internet, I mean. Also, like, no data center server should even be connected to the internet, in my opinion. I don't know how it works entirely, but why can't it just be, again, a relay system? A relay system makes more sense to me than just a data rack. I don't know what the fuck, but anyway, that's my solution anyway. Unless I could be wrong, but that's not. Yeah, that's the topic, so I'll move on. Just remembered something that I've been meaning to talk about for a long time. I don't know how I forgot it. It's quite an obvious thing as well. Where the fuck is my slipper on? Confused. Yeah, I still wear these even though it's spring. Still got cold feet every now and then, not sure what the deal is with that. Also, I got really fucking bad heartburn or something. I had a madras earlier, madras paste rather. Really spicy. Not the spiciest thing I've ever had, but still spicy enough. And I dread to think what it'd be like vomiting with that. Yeah, I don't want to think about it. Anyway, I think I wanted to talk about my videos and why I just don't put the effort in anymore. Because I'll explain what I mean by this. If I go through my channel, I look at the playlist and stuff, what's this about? Stop Killing Games? Hang on, YouTube recommendations, that's gone. Or is it? No, thanks YouTube, it's freaking gone. That's annoying. Oh well, anyway, go to YouTube Studio, try to find playlists where the fuck they've hidden that now. It is, and then go to random moments and funny moments. So, actually, would it even show that? Yeah, it won't show the view count exactly, so maybe it's better to just filter it. See, like random moments. Like, I did this a while ago. It's pretty much a series idea where I obviously make random moments videos. I show like everything that happens in these and stuff, like on my journey basically. Yeah, I made 200 of these before moving on to funny moments, because funny moments was about funnier moments, because I felt like I was more leaning towards that now rather than the random moments where I felt like I could explain and show off multiple things. And yeah, but the view counts on these are still pretty low given the sort of content it is. You know, I'm a gaming channel, but I'm not like completely dedicated to it. As you can see, music. Like my most views, like, can you sort view count? You can, holy crap. Can you? Yeah, you can. So, like my 3 highest videos, Random Moments 138, 154 and 107. So these I did not even edit that well. So let's look at the most popular one. FFXRV is getting really fun. Yeah. Back when I had a crappy mic setup, still playing Honkai. And noticed that, yeah, I'm a one character there, and also noticed that Final Fantasy, the Cost of the Soul music was great. So I had a bit of frame rate then. I don't know what's happened since. Unless my frame rate's gone down, I don't know what deal with that is exactly. Yeah, I'm still going through like Everyone Reborn, I think. Got the Unending War or something going on there. I think so. Yeah, like, I don't know why this is even popular. Because my editing on it is still shit. And, you know, I stopped doing that at some point because I just got fed up of doing it. It took a lot of time. I had to rewatch it. I had to do many different things. And whilst I don't rewatch obviously the videos I make, which I do for a reason, time, I just feel so much better for it. But then you have to look at the fact that everything else gets around, well, 0 views to about 10, maybe even like 50 or 66 as the fourth positive. That's just on random moments, but I dread to think what funny moments have. Like only 3 of my random moments videos have no views. It's only like 182, 184 and 195. So it's just weird, and then tons of them have 1 view, 2 views. It's bad, but then you go into funny moments, so let's look at this, show all. Even though YouTube's shit, his filtering system is not bad here. So the most viewed is number 7, Deep Rock Galactic Chaos, because playing the multiplayer mod. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that that's quite popular. Oh, sorry. And then, not surprisingly, but surprisingly, 61 views on part 51, My Merit Collection Arc Begins. Damn, that's when it started, huh? Sure. And yeah, just nothing as popular as the random moments, and the view count by lowest. You know, say I got like 15 videos here have 0 views, and then a few with like 1 view before going on to 2 views, and again 15 parts in between. So it's just kind of why I don't edit. And let's go to the beginning. Random moments. I forgot how I labelled it. Part 1? No, apparently I didn't label it that. But I just labelled it Part 4 once. Random moments #1. Yeah, this is going to show off stuff, ain't it? How the fuck do I filter this and date? Actually, that's a good way. Number 1. So first of one, which I actually edited. 19 views. Yippee. And the second one, for some reason it's skipping it. Oh, it's because I've #1. You know, part 10, 11 I was still editing at this point. I edited it up until like a certain point. I think I got to Sumeru in Genshin Impact. I thought, you know what, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore. That's also because of Vegas Pro just being buggy as fuck and actually miserable. So I gave up on that. No surprise. It just needed to happen, I think. And then made me switch to DaVinci Resolve, which is far more reliable, but yeah, with its issues. So yeah. People could call me lazy all they want, but at the end of the day, it doesn't pay off, and I can't really say it's something I'm proud of. But even then, I want to contribute to the niche that. Well, I don't want to contribute to a niche, which is like over editing and putting in sound effects all the time. Mainly, I tried to start with that, and it didn't really work. So again, why bother? I do only small edits here and now. I might do a zoom in, I might do a cut. I also do like audio editing. It's pretty easy to do that in DaVinci somehow. But there's just so many complications that come with it, and that just makes it so much harder. So I'm just so tired of that shit. It doesn't really work and doesn't make sense to edit, especially when there's no payoff. And it hasn't even gotten me to monetization status, so there you go. There's a reason why as well. Like, what's the fucking point when I edit things? And you know, if I was to look at my most popular, I should have actually looked at that. Create a studio again. Let's see. Content. Even my latest cover hasn't really picked up, but I do categorise it as music rather than gaming. I know it may be a no-no, but I consider it music. It's basically me honouring it. So views highest to the lowest. So also my World of Warcraft one got one. A few of them actually did, but mostly like tips and tricks videos and how-tos. Then my most popular music cover from Deep Rock Galactic, and then Attack of the Vids, which I'm not surprised is actually popular. Actually, a really good composition for my part. I quite liked it. Has no dislikes. Interesting. Has 100 likes. And more World of Warcraft shite, and more covers. That's interesting. More covers. Crappy Genshin video, like Jesus Christ. The 1,000 views mark stops at about Sonic 06 when I did a cover for that, which is Dreams of an Absolution, which also was inspired by a different cover for anyone unaware. I also got a lot of dislikes for talking about anti-autism claims, which is fucking weird. There's this cunt called Robin Goffees or something, talking about feeding your children bleach to cure autism, which is just fucking weird. I don't know how I even got so many dislikes on that, it's weird. But somehow people hated that. But yeah, it seems when it comes to opinion pieces, just people are not really that open-minded. The thing is, I'm open-minded and I don't mix with closed-minded people. So that's why that tends to happen. But yeah, that's about it though. Surprisingly though, all the videos with these 100 videos or more have likes and dislikes, which is interesting, so the engagement is there. There's also comments on some of them, especially the 1,000 view ones. But you know, there's engagement, and it does pick up, but it also doesn't. So that does mean that it creates issues. So I'm not as lucky as I could be. It's kind of like, I'm not sure. I just think that there just isn't much point in editing and stuff, and even then with music, even the fact that a still image gets a lot of views and stuff is kind of interesting, because sometimes channels do go the extra mile and make a music video, and even I think I did one music video actually. It's for the Deep Rock Galactic cover, Compressed Gold, which didn't pick up unfortunately. It's not a cover, it's like a parody of a. It's a good parody though, I like the lyrics in it. But we'll see. Again, it's not worth the effort. And I tried making wave stuff before, and there's no such thing. Somehow, in what 30, 40 years of the internet, nobody's made a reliable waveform system. Not only have they lacked to make it, or rather not made any software for it, they've also not made any websites that actually work well. And even then it's inefficient. So it's just kind of weird. Just zero reason for it. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's why I never really edited it that far. And even then, the editing takes a while to begin with. Yeah, I have to open up DaVinci, which already takes like a minute to launch for some reason. And it lags my system, and then I have to put it on Audacity to also convert it to MP3 from WAV. I don't convert it in FL Studio only because for some reason it won't cut off the ends, and the ends will be like a minute long for some reason. I'm guessing because of tones, but I don't know. It's very weird. But again, this is all part of the reason why I just don't bother much. So many systems are getting in the way, making it extremely frustrating. Anyway, that's about all I've got to say on this, so I'll move on. Well, this is a damn annoyance and embarrassment. What's wrong with my voice? Fuck hell, that's probably what it did to me. Jesus. Ugh, that is not good. Don't know what happened there. Maybe a voice drop, I don't know. Balls dropped again, maybe. Because actually it does sort of tie into a weird fucking, thing happening. Yeah, I won't explain anymore. My alarm's going off and I'll explain why. There's something wrong at the moment. But basically I had a bad sleep last night. So I struggled to get off to sleep. I've basically watched a bit of Pokemon before going to bed, also read. Started to read my book again, which is good. Discworld, I'm still struggling to sort of have anything sort of settle in my mind. I don't know why. I never used to have that issue, but then I just started again. So that annoys me. Then, yeah, I woke up at like 2 in the morning. Also, I've had like bowel issues still, and I did go before going to sleep. That made no difference. I still had that feeling, which sucks, and then woke up, had the same feeling. Didn't really risk it because there's no point, nothing coming out, can't trust it. But at that point, it was like 4:30 in the morning. I'd barely gotten any sleep anyway, from just struggling to get to sleep to begin with. Like, I could actually look at my tracker. I was for some reason laying on my side without headphones on. Yeah, 3 hours and 40 minutes apparently. That sounds about right. And I don't know why I ended up laying on my side for some reason. It's been happening a few times. I don't know what the deal with that is. I don't usually lay on my side. It's just really difficult for me and also uncomfortable. So it is very strange. I don't really know what the deal is. It's just fucking annoying, but I woke up anyway and go get better sleep. Yeah, I'll set it up. I've been up for over 2 hours and 30 minutes at the moment. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and yeah. Also, I felt like a cold thing was sort of coming on last night. I was just minding my own business and just felt something coming. I can't remember what it was actually. Yeah, I basically got up at about the 2 hour mark. Thought, you know what, fuck this. I'm not able to get to sleep. I tried really hard and nothing. And it's also, almost the moment I woke up, I just realised I also had a fucking erection. I don't know what the hell was going on with that. It's very weird. So I don't really know where that came from. It does sort of weird me out a bit in that sense. It just feels like that shouldn't be happening right now. I don't know what else. I don't know. But it's so frustrating because the day before, yesterday, I made the effort to do extra exercise and it didn't work. So I did about 15 minutes on the treadmill. Somehow did it straight. I did it at 1.8, which is fairly slow. It did me about 2,400 steps, I think. Which is not bad because that's about the same amount as doing a walk around the block, but I'm also walking an incline here. And thanks to Pokemon for getting me through that, because it wouldn't be possible otherwise. Like, Jesus Christ, that would be a struggle. But yeah, did that, and then in the evening I did a bit of weights, just do sort of some, not really arm curls, I just try to hold them as high as I can, not above my head, but rather as high above chest height as I can, obviously without being above my head. But I do like reps that way, and also try to work out my sort of abdomen slash something area. Just try to do different things, and yeah, that was actually a pretty decent amount of exercise for the day, although annoyingly I did overeat, that's the only thing. I made an Indian, I had it's a tofu madras. I had some leftover frozen bits like a naan bread and some onion bhaji burger, which is nice from Aldi. There's also an Indian samosa, which also has nice, and also Indian bites, which also wasn't as nice as I would have liked it to be. And also had rice with it, which I think was a mistake. I think I went a bit overboard. I didn't need either the bites or the rice, although probably the bites, because there's a bit too much of that. But it fucking took me out. It caused me so much heartburn and stuff. It's so fucking annoying. I almost took a, what's it? I forgot what they're called now. In my drawing, HYPERSKY, because I thought it was something to do with that, maybe. If not, I don't really get indigestion, but I didn't really do it in the end. I sort of wish I did. But yeah, very annoying. And I don't really mean to overeat, that's the thing. Because sometimes people really just fail to understand that you can misproportion things, and especially in my issues, I don't see perspective the same way anyone else does, so I sort of have to make up for it. I struggle with it in art, I struggle with it in handwriting, and I even struggle with it in games. Like, I struggle to see where things are. Like, is there a big gap here? Like, to me it looks like a big gap, but I don't know, like, is it? It's a sizable gap. When I'm doing like Leap of Faith in Final Fantasy, I can't tell sometimes what the difference is, because it'll be random. So it just doesn't help. Yeah, well, also I had to take a drink because my throat was getting weird. Yeah, what's I talking about with perspective? What's the point of that? Anyway, oh yeah, the food, yeah, portion sizes. Yeah, I think that is an issue with me. I've managed to do it good for the most part in the past few months, but for some reason last night it's like, yeah, there was something off about that. I couldn't tell the size. I thought putting these things into the air fryer, I'm not even sure if they're actually fully cooked, to be honest, so maybe I'm just dying of food poisoning. And also on the day that I took my adalimumab for my Crohn's disease, which isn't good, so again I'm possibly dying from food poisoning as I speak. But I don't know, it felt warm to me when I checked, so I could be wrong. It just felt warm. I wouldn't say it's like boiling hot, and I didn't really care at that point. But yeah, overeating, it's like almost 2 bowls worth, and I have some pretty big bowls, to be honest. There's a fairly sizable portion in each. As I got the Madras in one, and then these other bits also it's half a naan bread, just to be clear. I didn't do two. I always try to balance it out. So I'd always do like 1 naan bread, 1 rice or something. Which technically should have been the measurement for me, but oh well. It's only a small naan bread, that's the thing. It's a Patak's one. So yeah, it's very strange. And what did I have for lunch? I had oh yeah, that fucking hell. Made some vegan sort of pizza thing. Some of that not okay cheese, which it's definitely varying. I think I have 2 likes from that, which is charcoal cheese and Italian herb. Expensive, but kind of good, kind of nice. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. In all honesty, the price is a bit too steep. If it's about half its price, then maybe I could justify getting a few of them. But I don't know. that's the main thing. There's always a fucking price with that, especially as it's like artisan cheese. It's just not worth it. For the price that I'm sort of saying for, I could easily get like Cathedral City or Apple or something, their vegan cheese. God, I didn't expect to be talking about cheese in the morning. Weird. Yeah, I'm trying to think like, had a hot chocolate in the morning, had a actually kind of somewhat healthy breakfast. I had digestives in my overnight oats, but even then, it's dark chocolate digestives from Tesco. Had fruit with it, had a bit of popcorn syrup because I still have some of that left over. It's always a bit annoying to be honest. Always having to use up stuff that people don't use. Yeah, it's not really an issue, but it depends. I do like the syrup. It's really hard to find a place to use it. Yeah, there's so much frustration really. Even then, I'm feeling tired now. So getting to the point, I don't know where the fuck this comes from. This insomnia, it doesn't make sense. I hate it. It just makes me miserable as well. And also, I'm pretty sure I've got something coming up today, like a sort of meeting. So that doesn't help at all. Looking older. Also, this is the other thing. And people say, though, you just catch up, just take a nap. Doesn't work like that, it turns out. I actually cannot do that. Because it basically doesn't work. Ever since I was a child, I've never been able to get back to sleep, even at my most tiredest. I remember, even when I was dying like a cold crescent in Final Fantasy XIV, I only remember this because of that. Because of the horrible grind it was. Somehow I lost so much sleep that I was falling asleep almost in the day, but I couldn't fall asleep when I lay down. Even when I tried for about 30 minutes and it didn't work. It's like, oh, okay. And what the fuck? So, that was weird. That seems really shit. It doesn't really help. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is. I've never been able to figure out. It's potentially something. Actually, then again, my family does do fine with falling back to sleep and stuff. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. It's really annoying at this point, and it even just goes to show this is the other thing. I'm just really fucking annoyed. I do all this exercise to help myself sleep and stay healthy, and then my body punishes me for it for whatever reason, not my brain. I don't know if it's maybe because of stress or what. Maybe it's stress catching up with me. It's hard to say because nothing gets done here. I don't really get any help. I don't get the help I need. Rather, like I do get support, but I don't get support that I need. So that sort of thing. It's like, okay, you're just lazying about, not even doing the things that you're supposed to, which I pay you for. Right. And the other thing is, like yesterday, got another fucking quote unquote bill through the post, which we don't even pay. So I don't even know why that's there. We're having to deal with that, which is fucking annoying. Because I'm not even smart enough to know what it's about. I don't understand it. It's a letter with a bunch of gibberish on it, and so I'm lost. It doesn't really add up. So it's also been sort of playing on my mind a bit. Yeah, so it sucks. Don't really know what else to add. That's pretty much about it for this topic anyway. Jesus, just fucking misery this just makes my life into. So if it wasn't bad enough as is. Yeah, so anyway, better move on. can't remember what more. There's another fun thing, so Pokemon streaming, Pokemon Go, the anime, and they had another Team Rocket takeover, which weirdly enough took us through generations 3 to 4, and then for some reason we jumped straight to 6 and skipped over 5. Maybe, was Team Rocket in 5? I'm pretty sure they were. Anyway, Gen 7, as usual, it just has this vibe to it that, you know, it's so special to me, it's so fucking amazing. It's why it's one of my favourite animes of all time, and I specifically highlight that area of Pokemon, because it is just good. It does everything so well, even though the animation took, well, not really a dive, but a simplification. They still animated it decently, and apparently the animators were quite overworked, but they apparently didn't mind it, so I don't know if that's true. But I can see they had fun with it, and that's really the entire point, and you can see it with the writers too. You see they were having fun with that. And yeah, like, even these episodes that were there were actually really good. They're actually surprisingly good, given what they were about. Trying to think, what was the first one? The first one was like a dancing thing, and they showed like they're trying to make a dance with their Pokemon, and obviously some don't get the assignment, but some do. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I think, yeah, it's a good episode, and there were so many good moments in that, like some comedic moments, some what the fuck happened there. I'm trying to think, obviously Logan Volpix having a cute little dance. It was adorable when Lily was practicing, just doing like the left, right paws up. Yeah, it's very adorable. Obviously everyone's trying to figure things out, Kiawe being Kiawe. Also Sophocles being Sophocles. Trying to think, Ash doing a stupid one, as usual. Fucking Ash all the time. Then there's that interesting part when Mallow and Serene, is it? I forgot the name of that Pokemon, Serene, I guess. So the next one is Serena, Serena, I don't know. Serena, I can't remember, but I'll say Serene. And she discovers this dance that she wants to do, and yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, for some reason Team Rocket get on the board. There's also this bird Pokemon, I forget the name. It does like the sort of hula dance sort of thing. It's quite contagious, and Jessie just being Jessie, Team Rocket. Okay, so we're going there. Yeah, she's just a goofball in this, and obviously a treat as usual per Team Rocket. Yeah, she wants this bird Pokemon for herself. She wants to be a star. And all these sorts of dreams that she has. So she probably has more dreams than like James actually. It's just fucking weird. Yeah. So it's interesting, and then also it progresses the story. There's a bit more, and then the most interesting part, I think, to me, was probably to do with when we encounter Team Rocket in the part where they're dancing. And there are some interesting dances, to be honest. They're kind of interesting. So yeah, it's very, very interesting as an episode, and I think my favourite part was actually seeing James cross-dressing. I'm not sure how long it's been since he did that, especially since like Gen 6. But I thought, that's amazing. You know, it's quite progressive, and it really shows that they have character there. Like, in sort of every aspect. Even then they're going like crazy, and they made Wobbuffet this giant thing in this supposed dance bit. Even though they just announced that they're Team Rocket and essentially don't really have a plan. That's also a really funny bit to think about. I'm trying to think, and then I stopped watching after the first episode because I wanted to try and sleep. Obviously I didn't get sleep. The second episode was about Sophocles, I think, just being on a game show. I've got to clear my throat. And he, I think, he either lost or he came second. I can't remember which it was. But it's super interesting. I gotta report that bug actually. It's fucking weird. Hang on. For some reason short hops and long hops aren't working properly again. It's very strange. I don't know what goes on with this fucking game sometimes. I never fail that jump. That's the weird thing. It's really hard to fuck that up, and yet it's somehow doing it. There's some sort of collision thing going on. Anyway, yeah, even bits of this episode were kind of interesting, and small bits I saw. Yeah, it's like, obviously, Lana has the cute Eevee. Yeah, the one with the hair. I remember the debut, actually, the trailer for this Eevee. Fucking so adorable. I forgot what she named the Eevee. Yeah, extremely cute. And what else was there? I can't remember what actually goes on in the episode. There's like some interesting bits, cute Pikachu moments. That happens, yeah. So I think that's probably about it. Yeah, like, it's just good episodes. Also, Beware, I forgot about that. But I want to talk about really what made Sun and Moon so sort of great, I guess. Because it literally, it felt like it was a labour of love. You know, unlike season 6, which I think it was good, but it wasn't amazing. It was, again, in those episodes and that, like, some of it was funny, some of it kind of meh. I do like the MGM references. They did 2 of them. They did one with Pikachu and did one with Meowth. That's very interesting. They did that. Also kind of clever. It's a good throwback. Yeah, Gen 7 just generally was a labour of love, I think. It just felt like that to me, and that's what made it special, in all honesty. It just was something genuinely special. It had so many things going for it, and did it quite well. It had the characters, obviously, and quite clever that they used the troll characters, obviously, in the games to be the school people, the school students. I mean, I could call them school people, what the fuck? But yeah, just being the students, and yeah, like that added a twist to it that I probably couldn't have predicted. It's a very interesting one. That definitely makes it a bit different and a bit more fun as well. That should go without saying. Yeah, what else? Like the Team Rocket stuff, and also I love the bit where they have, I think it's their children. But I do love that gimmick because Beware has just got such a personality, and I remember when the Ultra series was airing and stuff. Also, I remember that moment where Ash said shit in the fucking Japanese stuff. I was like, what? You could say that in Japan? Okay. You're not allowed to say that here in the Western place, so I don't know. There's some weird moments like that. Pretty sure there's more of them scattered throughout. Yeah, a lot of this is what made it special, and also the Beware fighting the Ultra Beast, that was fucking brilliant. That was so good. It's so funny, and it just works. It's got that real gimmick to it, and that's what makes it so good. I don't think it'd be the same without those sort of things going on. I definitely don't think it would be. Yeah, like, it's just one of those things, I guess. You know, no other anime is kind of doing that sort of thing. It's kind of sad to really have that personality or gimmick to it, which, yeah, and especially like coming from Gen 7 to Gen 8, which in my opinion was like the most disappointing part of Pokemon ever. It was just bad. Gen 8 was awful in terms of an anime. It lacked humour, it lacked story, it lacked depth as well. The story was bad because it didn't progress. Just so many weird things in that, and It's just so bad. Like, I don't really get why they even edit it, to be honest. It's so confusing. And even then, like, my favourite episode of Pokemon ever actually came from that season, because there was an episode that was actually made by someone else, sort of written by someone else. It's either like episode 26 or 27. I can't remember, but it's like a noodle ad, I think. Ad for noodles, for some stupid reason they did. But it's like the episode before that, like half part before that, that's actually really good. But even then, the part with the noodles was also really weird. It's like straight up sponsorship, and I don't know how I feel about that. But it was way better written than the rest of the series, and even then, you got like Chloe's really adorable Eevee, who tries to mimic every move and every evolution, which was also really cute. But they just kind of fucked it up in every other way. It didn't really have too much story depth, it didn't have too many interesting moments. And then I think they were losing viewership, so they decided to bring back like other characters. Like, there's an encounter between Chloe and Dawn, I think, and I think Ash got to meet Iris again. If I'm not mistaken, I saw Iris again. And I think they went to Kalos at some point as well. It's like called Pokemon Journeys, and yeah, they kind of did that. And even then, like the last few other episodes of it, it's still kind of confusing and not even that great. It's just like a send-off for every character, and just where they're going from there. The Team Rocket one especially is kind of interesting. But yeah, the Ash one, not surprising. And to be honest, I'm kind of half expecting Ash to appear in Pokemon Horizons somehow. Even though they retired him, but I'm imagining he might be part of history or something, because I'm pretty sure in Scarlet and Violet it takes place in the future, or somewhat far into the future, I don't know. There might be that time skip actually, you never know. Because there's a time skip in the story, I think. You travel in time, like back or forward. I don't know. It's kind of weird and interesting. Yeah. Again, I just think about Gen 7 every now and then. It makes me a bit emotional, because there isn't nothing like that out there at the moment. It's definitely really special. Definitely heartfelt moments, plenty of humour, as I said, plenty of character for that matter, even like stupid gimmicks like thinking Lana and Ash are boyfriend and girlfriend. It's just kind of a funny gimmick from the side. And also that lady, what's her name? Oh, like she kept tripping up and stuff. She's like really clumsy. Like, that's what makes it special. That's what makes it a gimmick, and that's what makes it memorable. Again, much like the Beware, much like even Professor Samuel, was it? Just Samuel. He does his like Pokemon puns and impressions. It's like so fucking cursed. I remember this episode, it's one of my favourites as well. They do like a baseball thing for school, and Team Rocket somehow get into it, and also a top player as well. It's a crazy thing. There's also all these facial expressions that they make, all these unexpected moments. And I think Samuel's there, I think, mimicking it, judging it or something. I don't know why there's a judge. But it's like someone, who's the other guy, isn't it? Yeah. The guy who's the top player for this Pokemon baseball thing. He's like doing the impressions as well. Like literally mimicking the look and the sound. It's just so fucking funny. But yeah, even though it is more like kid friendly and also a bit infantilized in areas, Gen 7 was still probably the best one. Even with Gen 1 having definite bangers, and Gen 2, even Gen 3, yeah. Gen 4, yeah, definitely. Not sure about 5 and 6, it's hard to remember those for some reason. I think maybe it's because when I watched it back in the day, they didn't have the proper streaming services for it, so I didn't actually know how to find it. So essentially I was ending up with scattered episodes. And there's more than likely episodes that I missed as well from that, which kind of sucks. You know, I had to get by somehow, because obviously they didn't have it online back then. That's an important part, it's not what they're thinking it is, not the P word. Because it wasn't online. Like, everything's online now, so you're behind the game. You can't do that for something that doesn't exist, so yeah, it's just weird. But anyway, that's what I think of this, so yeah, let's move on. So, this is something that annoys me, kind of. Also, just don't take it too seriously, however. Because it's always just nonsense that people make up in their heads and don't really research it at all. So, yeah, there's been an influx of like anti-animal rights hatred online for some reason. But I guess it's to do with like the meat lobbyists and stuff for animal agriculture, just paying people to do this as a job. So literally not necessarily a winning thing. So it's just kind of weird. Like, what the fuck? So I'll start on my Reddit post actually. The Reddit post was kind of ugly. I talked about how I have a household issue, which might be a harassment case, I could be wrong. But yeah, I was getting attacked by like 2 or 3 different people about basically saying I have to just put up with it and, you know, embrace it. And it's just so fucking stupid. It's like people telling me to move out as well, saying it's their home as much as yours. Like, what? But I'm the one with sensory issues. Like, I can't cope. It's like if it doesn't have wheelchair access. Like, okay, it's their home. Like, I guess I don't deserve wheelchair access or something. Like other people, for that matter. That's just a weird thing to say. And then someone saying, you've come to terms with it and realise people can cook meat in a shared household. We can move out. And then responding to my response to that, which sounds like a personal problem. And this fucking idiot went on quite a few hours saying that they're basically not empathetic at all towards the situation. And then bragged about owning a house and not having to pay rent and get benefits. So it's fucking stupid, and I sort of suspected I managed to shut them up anyway. Not sure if it's like reporting or what, but I managed to call out their essentially mask here, where they are actually paid out by animal agriculture. So yeah, literally they're stalking the subreddit just to make these comments, which is a bit stupid. Here's someone else saying it's one of my problems and stuff. Like, fucking hell, my responsibility to mitigate. How do you fucking mitigate a smell? Fucking dumbass. It's like you have the answer. I guess you're gonna respond to that. So I didn't respond to it before. How do I mitigate smells then? Smells then with sensory issues? Because sensory issues aren't curable or treatable. And I put in some cases, so yeah, like I can stop some of the sounds I hear, I can stop visuals I can hear as well. It depends on what I'm in control of, but smells I can't control. I've never been able to, and the fact I can't even do it when I'm sitting down with bad like flare-ups and all sorts of colitis is more proof of that. Anyway, it's not really about that, it's about just the stupidity of these people, and they obviously come in from somewhere trying to push an agenda, and it's quite obvious that they're industry funded by that metric, because they obviously don't have anything good to say, they don't have anything useful, and just come here to harass and spread misinformation. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I wonder if like Shanty Vegan has anything, because I haven't been there in a while. You know, there's a lot of things here that are just absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. Because everyone was trying to tell me that naturally best tasting foods for humans are unhealthy. What? Fuck do you didn't word that properly. Vegans be like, there's vegan propagandists, people want me to eat rice, potatoes, bananas, red herring. That's literally a red herring. Because we're not saying to eat that. In fact, potatoes is probably on the least recommended things to eat. Rice is good for calories and I think fibre, if I'm not mistaken, and protein. Bananas not so much. Like, these are like some of the least dense foods that you're suggesting, which is stupid. It's a bit ridiculous. Yeah. Luckily, I'm not seeing a screenshot on my own comment, but they're also like taking into account that they're also taking screenshots from actually like on such vegan. Just fucking stupid. This Reddit post I saw, I didn't read it actually. Why are humans the worst? I've been vegan for 11 years, I've watched documentaries and educated myself a lot. Yet still become shocked and surprised by the horrors of humanity. I just found out what they do to snakes and get snake skin. We are genuinely parasites on this earth. All we could do is fight every day for liberation. It's a weird fact. I do know something about snakes, and maybe this user doesn't, but because I've unfortunately grown up with snakes, which I hate. I didn't like it. Got to watch a lot of porn over me, but that's another thing. Yeah, like, it's annoyingly not my pet, it was someone else's, and I didn't like them. They're too big and they're too scary and eerie to be around. It's constantly like looking at the glass and banging it sometimes, and yeah, doing that tongue thing that they do. They also bite. Didn't bite me luckily, but they bit. Obviously, the person who had them looked after them supposedly. And the horrible thing with that is that actually you could breed mice to feed them, which is fucking horrific. That was one of the worst parts of my childhood in terms of animal abuse I've seen. Yeah, you definitely don't come from that. But the other thing is that snakes do shed skin naturally, but obviously it depends on the industry. But they probably don't always do that. So yeah, I don't know if it's like the same thing though, having said that. But then this title on this screenshot is saying veganism is a mental illness that needs to be cured. What the fuck do you mean? Like, the definition for a mental illness is that it needs to be literally, obviously, clinically found, like, it needs to be rooted in evidence. So, you know, you look at something like, trying to think of something simple, and not really is anything simple, especially without downplaying it. I guess, what we could go like I'm trying to think mentally. Maybe the anxiety around that, okay. I get butterflies in my stomach and also followed by a sick feeling. And that probably comes as a result of, anxiety, which it likely is, and the way we diagnose that. So we look into the specifics, we start to find the issues. Oh, it has this in common, it's related to this trait. You get adrenaline, you get so many different things going on. And then it's found that that's what anxiety is. So that starts to become the diagnosis until something else comes along. And it's possible that we can replace them, some things do. But let's say you make a finder of a mental illness. As for curing it, well, there is no cures for these things. If anything, there's just treatments, but there's no fucking cures. So already, you're off to a bad start with that statement, which makes no fucking sense. Yeah, that sucks. So the next thing I suppose is to do with, well, it's a post that came up. I didn't realise it was a animal rights post or profile on Blue Sky. So I followed them and stuff. I only started following today, to be fair, and that was because of a post about Moby, and I didn't like the post myself. I'll explain why. Apparently Moby is like giving money to charity or something for animals' rights, which is good. But you know, a lot of people in the comments were calling out something about him, which I'm not aware of, and I tried to look it up and I couldn't find much. The only thing I could find is that apparently he's possibly dated like underage girls, but I don't know if that's true or not. And especially with said 18-year-old he's dated, apparently she denies ever having involvement with him, so I don't know. It's hard to comment on that sort of thing, but it also doesn't mean that the animal rights movement is like in trouble or anything. This fucking happens all the time. Straight people do worse shit. I've seen straight people that are obviously meat eaters. You know, Trump, for example, RFK. There's many different fucking people I've seen, even. There's tons of people who are just not related to ethical beliefs or diet, just do evil shit. So this is a non-argument against like vegans. But after I had one of the issues here I found in the comments is that you also got people arguing against the animal rights position. So there's something about, I can't remember what it was like. I could look at it, but I'm busy at the moment. Wonder if I'll have a response yet. I don't know. Just a bit strange. There we go, I think it's post. Can I see the original? Oh, there it is, okay. Just to be clear, he's an awful person. He's using this to rehabilitate his image. Okay. It's a fair comment. Can't deny that if he has done something wrong. The age gap stuff is very fucking weird, and to be honest, I'm not sure where I stand on it personally, because it's like people have different mental stages in their life, and physical age doesn't really play a role into it, to be honest. It's a weird thing. I think people get those two mixed up, but I don't know. So I could be wrong, it's not the worst thing, again, as I've said. I think there's far worse things out there. But anyway, there's a response to that saying animal rights is a cult. Tracks. What the fuck are you on about? A cult? Well, do you even know what a cult is? It's just really fucking weird to even call this out, because you clearly don't know what a cult is. Look at what is cult? Why not? That's broken English shit. A religion or religious sect generally considered to be extremist or false, with followers often living in an unconventional manner under the guidance of an authoritarian charismatic leader. So no, under that definition it doesn't meet that criteria. Animal rights doesn't have an authoritarian leader, it isn't a religion, and it isn't extremist or false, so that's an X there. One mark off. And the next definition it has followers of such a religion or sect. Nope. I don't know about sect, I'm pretty sure that's like a proper term for like a group, I could be wrong. And then there's the third definition, so another X, a system or community of religious worship and ritual. Another X, doesn't make sense, there's not even a community necessarily. It's just a label really. Not like human rights, not like trans rights. It's just a fucking label. It's not an entire group of people, and not everyone represents the other. It's just not really true. You get paedophiles in all sorts of fucking places in these things. You get it everywhere, you get it in the opposite. So anti-trans rights and anti-animal rights. So it's the same everywhere. It's basically a non-fucking argument. That's another X. Fourth definition, the formal means of expressing religious reverence, religious ceremony and ritual. Again, no, there's nothing there. It's another X. Fifth definition is usually non-scientific method or regimen claimed by its originator to have exclusive or exceptional power in curing a particular disease. That is an interesting one, but it's not religious, is that? It's non-scientific. Yeah, I think sometimes there is that argument, I will admit that. There has been problems in the community before, so debating herbivore versus omnivore, what are humans, also what are dogs as well, and to be fair, dogs are still omnivores no matter how you pretty much pose it. But yeah, like, it doesn't really fall under that definition because these are based on truths usually. The herbivore omnivore thing is kind of stupid, it doesn't really make sense to be honest. It doesn't work in this context because there is science, so it is scientific. It is a scientific method. That's how we determine dietary bias. Just from an instinctive perspective, how you fucking word it. But another X from that. Next is 6. Obsessive, especially fanish devotion to or veneration for a person, principle or thing. Surprisingly, yeah. That's the only definition it could fit, because some people do get really obsessed with it. I've seen it. You get activists who go very far with it, which I don't really have a problem with. Sort of necessary the same way that other things are, the same way human rights activists. So if you're saying animal rights activists are in a cult, you have to say the same about everything else. Say the same about, for example, the I'm trying to think what to call them, like anti-child abuse crowd. Like technically they're in a cult by this definition. Say the same about trans rights crowds, like they're in a cult. And even the opposite, like literally obsessive, faddish devotion to a principle or thing. Literally, that's what these are. So everything is a cult by this definition when it's obsession. You know, transphobes literally famously are obsessed with trans people, so yeah, they're in a cult. Like, good job. Clap, clap if you found something. Or whatever. That's why sometimes these definitions don't exactly work. But the seventh and final definition is the object of such devotion can be like sort of half and half, and that's, I guess, 5.5 out of 7. It's sort of like, I don't know how to word it actually, it's like 1.5 marks for being a cult, and that's by these definitions. So again, answering this unbiasedly, that's where I'm at with this. So it just doesn't make sense, and it does seem to be an influx because obviously this is happening a bit more frequently. I don't know where, again, these arguments come from. It's like the animal agriculture, but once again, it remains to be seen whether these are actually refuted properly or not, and whether people actually have evidence for these things they're claiming. So that's really what it hinges on at the end of the day. Otherwise, there's not an argument, there's nothing. So it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And then, even then, you could say that the anti-Trump crowd is a fucking cult, because people are obsessed with that. They're trying to get Trump out of power, and don't blame them. Yeah, like, what the fuck you want about it? At a certain point, it just doesn't matter. So, saying things are a cult is not a way to deter people or even convince them or something like this. So, yeah, what a failure. It's just fucking shit. So, trying to think, like, what else is, I've got to even add or say at this point. I suppose the other thing is that it's worrying when people also take the side of capitalists and corporations on the side of the meat industry. That does concern me a lot usually, especially with big like figures in the YouTube space like Penguin Z, and pretty sure I've seen others do it. I'm not going to name names, but I've seen other big YouTubers do the same thing. It's just kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you serious? You're protesting this shit and then you're eating it. Like, what gives? Like, what's gonna convince you to not fucking contribute to this garbage? This is why I don't really give into the burger moving thing that happens. It's all a farce. It's a fucking propaganda scheme to make you think that, oh, bad publicity is good publicity. And obviously, because they're gonna get you to try it, to make you think, oh yeah, the tons of people that are disgusted by this are gonna go and try it to be sure. It's just so fucking weird. It's exactly the problem. So admittedly, I'm not seeing tons of people doing it, but it's still an issue when, again, a big YouTuber does it and then people follow suit. It just reminds me of old YouTube to an extent, when PewDiePie like uploaded his first like Amnesia and Happy Wheel stuff, and then everyone started doing the same fucking thing. Admittedly, they're fun, but they're doing the same thing. They're not like just copying. And then smaller content creators do the same, and they don't stand a fucking chance. It's the exact same thing here, and it's like, what are you doing? Do something different. The only reason I'm playing like Final Fantasy 14 now is because the Endwalker hype died down and I felt comfortable about doing it, and the story actually worked out. When enough ties into that. And I didn't want to really support Endwalker in a sense because it's way too overhyped in my opinion. I didn't get to the end game, but fuck me, the game itself was bad. So it just didn't add up, and that's why I essentially left it for a while. I was only to come back to this, which isn't as favourable as an expansion, but it still offers something. But I'd rather like to win these things after the fact rather than later, and other than sooner, I mean. Because sometimes when you do it immediately, you end up with the worst fucking things. Like Crimson Desert has some issues here and there, like the story and stuff, not fleshed out, some bugs, I think, performance issues. You even see games like launch really horribly, and you just think like, okay, it's not worth the hype then, it's not worth even trying at this point. I even held off, and still will hold off on Sonic Crossworlds because I'm unsure if there's an element of FOMO. I remember they had that Joker event, and also I think Mega Man recently, if I'm not mistaken. And that's apparently like a limited time thing. But why do you even fucking have these? Makes zero sense. So I'm not gonna play it. There's no reason to have this shit. It may be a fun game, but I can't really justify it. And too much FOMO is just too bad, literally. That's a bit annoying. Anyway, I think I've discussed everything I can with this. Yeah, let's move on. I know, and yes, I've seen the news about However I Born not ending. Because a post, or vote rather, not post, basically concluded with like a 213 to 214 vote. And the traitor, as it turns out, is a Democrat. Yep. This is a very worrying sign that things are just so corrupt that people are just going to take it into their own hands, and I don't blame them. At this point, it's justified. It doesn't really fucking matter anymore what you say, what you do, because anything is a crime, especially under an authoritarian government and fascist. So, you essentially have no choice. It's either fight or be killed. That's it. That's the only thing. What do I even say? It's quite obviously just a big example of corruption, because obviously somewhere deep down, even if this Democrat say was doing all the right things, I don't know if they were, but there's still corruption somewhere, and it still happens somewhere at some point. I've even admitted this myself. I have a point of corruption which I don't think I can turn back from. And to be honest, even the consequences don't bother me, but it's my own personal issue. It's nothing to do with politics, thank fuck, because I think if it was, it would have more problems, but I guess because it's quite a minor thing in general, it's not really worth thinking about. But this is what I mean, because you know if you've been corrupted deep down and you can acknowledge it. But a lot of people don't admit that, and they're just weaker for it. So rather than have people say the convincing thing about the thing that they're corrupted by, instead they just hide it. And this is how we ended up in this situation, and it could also very well be a case where not only have we been betrayed, but also it is a case where they've been completely bought out, so money may be involved, hence there being a deep corruption here. And yeah, this is stupid. And in other news, in terms of politics, I saw another stupid thing today. I can't remember if I can find the post actually. But recently, I can't remember who it was, it probably is real, as usual. But they released a list of basically top 10 anti-Semites, and yeah, 10 anti-Semites, something like that. I think they have anyway. So this is floating around on Blue Sky. And it had some lots of celebrity names and stuff on there. And it's just so fucking stupid. Like, come the fuck on, it's so dumb. Let me see if I can go it. Israeli government report ranks 10 most influential anti-Semites. Alright. So it's not an image, I don't think, which is interesting. Jesus Christ, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's really bad, and let's see, like, I wish I had the image, because it's like, it was more informative, because it showed, like, who the faces as well, but, you know, it's really annoying, but, you know, I noticed 2 names on there, Greta Thunberg and Candace Owens, I think, and it was like the top 10 anti-Semites, as it, obviously as the title says and yeah, anti-Semite influencers. But this just reveals a massive issue, because do you even fucking know what an anti-Semite is? What is anti-Semite? Let's see. If it's not about mites. Discriminatory, especially on the basis of race or religion. No. It's not fucking anti-Semitism to fucking protest violence. Are you fucking kidding me? There are Jewish people who even say you shouldn't be doing this genocide, you shouldn't be killing people, you shouldn't be doing these wars. It's so fucking stupid. Also, the second definition, someone who hates and would persecute Jews. Again, you don't know what fucking anti-Semite is. But I'm like pretty sure that Greta Thunberg was on a boat with other religious people, and probably Jews as well. Like, it's just fucking insanity. This is why old people shouldn't be in positions of power at all. It's just so badly portrayed, and they get everything wrong. I mean, about the portrayed thing being like religion and stuff, and this doesn't help it. If anything, it's probably bound to get people even more anti-Semitic, because this is what contributes to it. This rational hatred and violence for something that is so fucking trivial, that doesn't even affect your life of all things. Like, come the fuck on, grow up. Like, you're, what, how fucking old are you, Netanyahu? What the fuck is wrong with you? Netanyahu H. Let's see. Okay, that's not helpful. Benjamin Netanyahu. So, come on, where's the fucking just office dates? It's not birth. 1949, apparently. So what? Like 80, 70? Oh, there it is. Age 76. Okay. Yeah, way too fucking old. You shouldn't be in a position of power. Yeah, the biggest problem is in this day and age, we need younger people to fucking do the politics, because they're the only ones that can be trusted with it, in all honesty. I'm willing to be proven wrong on that, but I cannot trust someone like Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a known terrorist and war criminal, is like continuing to do this shit. Like, it's just fucking insanity. I just cannot comprehend this shit. It's so nonsensical. It's always again old people. It's never a fucking young person doing this. You don't see a like 20 or 30-year-old doing war crimes, telling their army to shoot kids in the fucking bollocks, or even like raping women. Like, it's fucking insane. And you also have to understand that we don't even throw the word terrorist around without just cause. There is just cause for this. It is actual terrorism. And then when they say, oh, we're trying to defeat the terrorists, so because they're Muslim, they're prescribed to the religion of Islam. Well, if it is, then why the fuck are you worse than them? Like, what are you doing? It makes no fucking sense. So you're willing to stoop to something worse than what they do, just to make a point, just to get rid of them or something. It just makes no fucking sense, and then people have to deal with you, and potentially have to do worse things. Let's not forget that. just so bad. There's no logic in these people, and this is why young people should be in power. It's just an objective fact here. I don't think it's really refutable at this point. Also, a younger person is going to have more know-how and experience on certain things, like technology. You know, if we had a 20-year-old in power and Keir Starmer's place, guarantee you, we won't have the fucking ID system and we won't have a cost of living crisis. That's for sure. Yeah, but even then we need someone just working class and someone actually poor. But we need to fucking understand something here. Stop getting rich people in it as well. It's the rich and the old make things worse for everyone else. Like, they're both absolute cancers. It's just so fucking horrible to be in a world like this. And I guess it's not to say that every old person is bad. Like, Jesus Christ, I've seen good old people, but they're harder to come by these days, and that's why it's such an issue. And I'm not being ageist, just to be clear. It's just a lot of the time, age plays a role in the sort of beliefs that they hold, and also where they are mentally and physically. So it does affect them in every which way. So of course I'm gonna fucking worry. And given that I'm quite young anyway, why shouldn't I worry? That's the other question I suppose I need to ask. You know, when I'm talking about stuff like Gaza, Palestine, and even Lebanon and Iran, like, I don't even say, not even Ukraine and Russia. I need to fucking understand what's going on around me to get a bigger picture to address this problem. In this world, anything's possible. I remember naively thinking as a kid, like, it's too bad to be true that there could ever be another war. It's too bad to be true that everyone, you know, whether anyone could do something so evil like in World War II. It's just before I even knew about the ongoing, like, Palestine and Gaza Strip issue. It's been happening for decades. And yeah, it's just such a big problem. Holy shit. Yeah, I think even politics back then, even when it was just Afghan and I wasn't around for Vietnam, but probably even then, it wasn't much of a worry. Even though we were fucking war criminals, at least the US was to Vietnam, and yeah, probably Afghan as well. I'm not 100% sure on that though. Was it Iraq and okay, I can't remember. I'm not good with my geopolitics and stuff, as you can tell. But it's so long ago, I was a kid. But again, I still thought it's really stupid to have wars because it just means more damage. And this is me, a special needs kid, learning difficulties, with no knowledge and experience on this other than history lessons I had, and also took a history GCSE, but that didn't teach me much. So yeah, it's very fucking weird that I even knew that at the age of 15. Like, what the fuck? It's not even because of some propaganda. Like, again, people accuse anyone of propaganda in this day and age for some reason, because that's apparently a coping mechanism. Like, fuck off. It doesn't matter if something is propaganda or not, it matters whether there's fucking truth to it. Because everything is propaganda. Even the advertisements for the things you buy is propaganda. So there is a non-argument at this point. So it's again about addressing the points individually with as accurate information as possible. And that's that. Hence why I'm even addressing this. Hence why Netanyahu and Israel, Israel's complicit by the way, it's 70% of voters, isn't it? No, it's like 70% of the population actually. It's like they agree that the genocide should happen. Oh yeah, that tells you all you need to know. Doesn't really need anything else said there. So they're all complicit. It's hard to say even for the ones that don't mean it, don't want anything to do with it. You know, it's so fucking lost at that point. There's probably better things for you than the fucking genocide. Yeah, I don't know what's that. Again, I just didn't think this could ever happen. And given the UK politics recently, which is what got me involved in all this, trying to address it, I've been forced to play my hand because of my life being online with disability rights and stuff. For other people's lives online more than my own. Just going through so many problems in life, and that's why I have to address it. That's why it's become such a prominent issue, and that needs to be addressed, especially in the UK. As I said, something like reform, a big threat to everyone, a protector of paedophiles and rapists, and racists as well. It's not going well, to say the least. So that's obviously what we're trying to avoid. It's just whether anyone is intelligent enough to realise that they're being played by billionaires and people who don't actually care about them, and won't even care about making us suffer, like the revenge politics aspect of it. Because you won't even have the fucking idea or even technology to even see that we are suffering, so yeah, you've got that going for you, fucking retards. So yeah, don't know what to add, but it's about it, I think. It's just so fucking dumb. Every single part of this. Again, I don't really know what to add other than, I guess, revolution. I don't know if that's the right term. But we definitely need some sort of reform in terms of politics and geopolitics, that's for sure. And yeah, we can learn some things from Gen Z's protests and stuff. Either way, it's time to move on. Well, I'm going to wrap up the podcast here. It's gone on too long. So thanks for listening. Watch this thing. So see you all next time.